You have my sword.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back with session 17 of Adventures in Middle-earth Eriador Adventures. We are joined by 2 of our 3 players today, yeah, we're just at the beginning of Adventure 2 of this grand campaign that takes place in Eriador. Let's go ahead and have our players introduce themselves. Unfortunately, we are not joined by Theodric. I'll introduce his character after our other 2 players have mentioned, and then we'll introduce the DMPC as well. But let's go ahead and pass it off to Valineth.
Hey everyone, my name is Dane, or Forged here at Fantasy Forge Studios. I play the character Valineth, son of Morbith. He is a high elf scholar from the land of Rivendell, where the Hidden Valley Ranch flows so freely.
Where the Hidden Valley Ranch flows down the Bruinen.
Yeah. He's 700 and I think 79 years old at this point. I think his birthday passed. I'm not sure. Either way, he's old, kinda, sorta. He's like mid aged elf. But he is a scholar, as I had mentioned, so he excels in healing. During this past holiday phase, he just acquired a proficiency with a broadsword, so he has an elven broadsword he can use now, and he's mainly an archer, so he can shoot with a bow, with his father's bow of the Last Alliance, which is pretty cool. I would like to say the best description of him is he's like the Tolkien book version of an elf, very happy and jovial, not as brooding as like the movies depict them. But he's cool. He's awesome. He is very fancy pants, and he likes to take notes, and he does cartography, and he is pretty cool. He heals too. I think I mentioned that, but that's Valineth.
Awesome. Our next player is Kyrian.
Hi everyone. I'm Cole, or Kind Babbage, according to some. Only Vorpal calls me that. So you shouldn't. But I am. I play Kyrian, son of Durafin, of the Dunedain of the North, and I'm pretty cool. I'm basically like the head dude before Aragorn. Kinda. Most people listen to me, usually. And I'm really good at navigating, specifically Eriador. So that's fun. And I'm really good at, I feel like I'm interviewing for a job. I have dual wielding of the weapons.
And now, since you're level 5, you have 3 attacks now because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kicking butt, taking names. And I've got cool armor. My armor class is sick now. And I stab, and I shoot arrows, and basically everything you would hope out of a Dunedain, a ranger of the north. Yeah. And I have his shirt now. So check out the merch page.
Whoa, I didn't even notice that. That's freaking sick.
If you want to, be like me.
When did you get that?
Last time we streamed, I think.
Nice.
I was like, I've been meaning to get it, and I have the
Actually,
Christmas
that looks
spending
really
money.
Nice.
Yeah.
It does look good.
It's a little bit too cold to wear a t-shirt right now, so
Oh, that must be nice. It's always warm here.
Oh, Florida boy.
Yeah. It was cold for like a week or 2, and then it said, I'm Florida. I'm warm always. So yeah, check it out in the merch page. You can be like me and have your favorite AME character on your favorite shirt and your favorite color, as long as those colors are red, green, black, or white,
Nice.
or yellow. I don't actually remember all the options, but I got black, so
Black's a good
Nice.
solid one.
Yeah, black
yeah.
look good. Yeah, nice.
Especially with like
By
the
the way,
green. It's good.
I agree. Those who follow Christ Forge, by the way, a merch store is up of Catholic wear. So I will
Whoa.
post
Ooh.
that. I know. I
Is
will
it a
post that.
different store than the other
It's a
merch
different
store?
store.
Oh
It's a
my
different
god.
store. Yeah, I know. So it'll most likely just be up on the website under like the content section where I stream. But it's cool. We got a couple like we got a Marion hoodie. We've got a Mary like athletic shirt. We have a uh Saint Benedict medal shirt, and then we have the Holy Family polo. It's got the three hearts. So like the chaste heart, sacred heart, and um immaculate heart on it. So it's pretty cool. That we only have 4 items right now, but it's pretty
That's
sweet.
pretty cool though.
Yeah, sorry.
That is
But
cool.
we were plugging merch store, so I figured
Yeah, might
that's
as
not.
well.
Might as well. I love it. Our next character is Theodric. He is a rider of Rohan. I think he's probably like 20 now, 19 or 20, but he's very young. And he is on his adventure, first in Wilderland, but has eventually made his way over to Eriador to assist his good buddy Valineth and now his new buddies Kyrian and Caliphyr in their adventures in the north, but I guess northwest. But he is a slayer, which is kind of the AME equivalent to barbarian. He's got a very nice horse, Baradrock, and he is a meat shield. And so that's literally what he does. He goes charging with his rage and whatnot, headlong into battle, which there hasn't been a ton of that thus far, but he has the ability to do so. And yeah, he's pretty cool. Normally, he is played by that tubby Australian who unfortunately wasn't able to join us today, but hopefully for our next stream, he will be back. And then our final character, which is the DMPC of the party, is Caliphyr. He is the captain of the Silver Swan Corps down in Dol Amroth, and he one event led to another. Essentially, his ship was marooned in Eriador, and he was thrown into the events of the whole Captain Mormog trilogy. I guess it's more not really a trilogy. His whole narrative, and while also meeting Kyrian Valineth, eventually Theodric, and finding his way now currently healing in Rivendell.
We'll make it a trilogy.
We'll make it a trilogy.
Make 3 movies out of it.
Heck yeah. But yeah, there's been a lot going down in Eriador since we have like been playing. I guess is one adventure. We are just at the very beginning of the second adventure in the campaign. And we're at a point now where they are in Rivendell trying to make a decision about what to do, where to go next as a company. But without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I am Kyle. I am the lore master, and I'm playing both with and against these players as they make their stamp on Middle Earth and keep the shadow at bay between the years of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. So this takes place, I guess, right now 7 years after the fall of Smaug and the Battle of the Five Armies. And so yeah, it's kind of the quiet before the storm, before the War of the Ring. But there are lots of years of adventure to be had in Wilderland, which was our previous campaign, and now in this new campaign, Eriador. And so with that, we can kind of just get things going. So currently, the company is in the city of Inladris. After their adventure of the first adventure, where they tracked down Captain Mormog, a Ulog High captain from the south, speaking the Mordor Black speech, they discovered that he is putting together a hodgepodge army of both evil men, orcs, and trolls in Eriador. For whatever purpose, the destruction of the free people, of course. But the company were able to track him to the Broadcleave, which is kind of like in the north, close to like a Mount Graham. But they discovered that he is recruiting people and taking prisoners and slaves to build underground tunnels underneath Eriador so that the armies of orcs and trolls and evil creatures that fear the sunlight can move throughout Eriador unseen and unchecked. Fortunately, the company was able to infiltrate this meeting at the Broadcleave, to which they found two men at the side of Mormog, one by the name of Aldrak, which they found out another who has the ability to wield magic, and another which is Birder the Troll Chieftain. He is the troll who is known for killing Arathor and Aragorn's father, and also Kirian's betrothed. And yeah, there's not good things going down, but they were able to discover plans in the form of what their overall plans are, a map back at the Broken Keep of potentially some key locations, and also they uncovered a number of good items at the Broken Keep, which includes Glorfindel's sword, which now he is a patron of Kirian because of that. And then also, which actually I was just thinking about this, which is kind of crazy. It's a side note. So Glorfindel's sword, the last time Glorfindel was reunited with it, the Fall of Gondolin, Elrond wasn't even born yet.
Really? What?
Yeah. So Elrond was born around 100 years after the Fall of Gondolin. And that's where, essentially, for those who don't know the lore, actually Glorfindel died fighting a Balrog during that battle during the Fall of Gondolin, and that's where he lost his sword. But he was reborn, and he was returned back to Middle-earth to
as Glorfindel the White.
As Glorfindel the Golden.
As Glorfindel the many-colored.
Yes. Yes.
That's Saruman. Just kidding.
He does not believe.
Also, I love how in the book Saruman just becomes like Joseph with his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Technicolor Dreamcoat, yeah. Well, you know.
He's just like, check me out, everyone. I have all the colors of the rainbow. You're like, cool.
He's a Skittles box.
Yeah.
It's good.
Sorry for the tangent.
No worries. So Glorfindel, he was reunited with his sword from the First Age in the Fall of Gondolin. The last creature that he took out was, I believe it was Gothmog, the lieutenant of the Balrog. I think it was him, or if not, just another Balrog. But he was grabbed by his golden hair and he fell to the depths with the Balrog, slaying him and also dying in the process. But anyways, so he's been returned with the sword, and now Kirian is he's Kirian's patron now.
My patron.
Yes.
What is it about people dying to Balrogs that brings them back to life?
When you fight the demon.
It's like the Bible, how like the Old Testament repeats itself in the New Testament.
It's recapitulation.
Kind of. Yeah, it's nice. Gandalf is basically the New Testament version of Glorfindel.
Good stuff.
Sorry.
All makes sense. It's all coming together.
Yeah, it's like he is a Catholic man, J.R.R. Tolkien, so it makes sense.
That's why he gives me healing potion things.
No, he
Remind
gave
me
you
what I got.
the Elf Stone.
That's right.
He gave
I
you
get
the
healing
Elf Stone.
potions.
Oh yeah, you have the healing things. My stone makes me way cooler though, and I don't remember why,
Pretty sweet.
but I wrote it down.
It's really good.
I'll let you know. Give me a sec.
But so Kirian is now has the patronage of Glorfindel, and they are currently resting after fleeing the Broadcleave, not discovered by Mormog, nearly discovered, but they were able to make their way south back to the safety of Rivendell, to where the journey itself exhausted both Theodric and Caliphyr especially, and they've been taking some well-needed rest before deciding what to do on their next adventure. What they discovered is this plan is going to take some time to be able to unfold. Kirian had sent out messages to the various Dunedain to let them know of some of the information that they are seeing and to help thwart any plans wherever they can. And also, Elrond in the process during this past month has sent out both his sons, Elodin and Elro, here to go investigate some of the matters further. With that being the case, the company is just about ready to depart. Caliphyr is finally at a point now where he's able to travel on his own and accompany the party. And yeah, now it's up to you guys to decide what to do.
What
So
did
it is
what
about,
did Calefear do? Because he had like a week because Aristor was helping him out, right?
So
Did he do anything
basically,
fancy?
That's actually a good point. So we can go ahead and just kind of begin. So while while the whole company is doing their thing, and this is kind of around the time that Valinith and Kyrian are training proficiency with broadsword, so you can find the two of you down at the training grounds quite often, fighting with Estel and Glorfindel and all of the high elf warriors that are down there. In the meantime, up at kind of the Great Hall where everybody's staying, Calefear is finally able to recover and get back on his feet, which is actually an impressive feat considering in Rivendell basically his healing was expedited to a degree. But he has spent the time checking in with Frothian, which is obviously his shield bearer that had also made his return with Gondril, and also Arthanath, who is the diplomat that also came with him, the only two other survivors of his ship's crashing. They are currently discussing plans about what to do and their return back to Gondor. In particular, how they're going to be able to get a ship to be able to make their way. And because of that, Elrond has recommended to Calefear to make his way to the Grey Havens and speak to Círdan the shipwright to be able to charter a ship down to Dol Amroth to return that company home. And so he is basically just taking the time to be able to relax. This is the first time he's really been able to relax in his adult years without constantly being on watch or even being on the sea. And so Calefear is now rejuvenated and is ready to depart whenever the company together is ready to depart. During this time also, Theodoric has been training Baradrock. You can often find him at the stables. He's very much training in mounted combat as far as the basically charge action. Essentially, he taught Baradrock the ability to be able to have I think it's called the strong trait, which gives him, while he's charging, a +2 to damage whenever he is making an attack while charging. So that's also cool. Trying to think anything else. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and hand it over to both Valinith and Kyrian. So this is probably the last day or two that you guys are thinking about departing. And the conversation that we had before stream, let's just say it can be kind of part of the conversation that you had during stream, talking about plans on what to do next, which is go ahead and leave it to you.
Yeah. I'm assuming we're still kind of training down by the bay where the Warmones grow.
Yep.
with what's his bucket, right?
Has
Has Estel? Yeah, exactly. Has Estel made his way down at all during any of this time?
Definitely, Estel has been a part of the training sessions because this has been about a 2-week stint where you guys have been going down and training every day. Kyrian's really, really doing his best to try to teach Valinith how to wield a broadsword, and you can see that you've very much discovered kind of like the regular regimented training times for the elves, and you've tried to make it down during that point. But outside of Glorfindel and the elves being there, the three of you, including Estel, are sparring and doing what you can to be able to help train Valinith in the art of the broadsword.
And Valinith takes out his new broadsword that he got money from Elrond, his mother, to purchase, and he says to Kyrian, "Oh yes," and he goes like this, just a couple fancy little twirls with the sword. "I think with this, I will be of much more help on the front lines. What do you think?"
I think you should stay away from the front lines.
"But I feel thicker with my 33 HP, and no, you're right. This is more as like a backup plan.
Yes.
I just wanted, to have a fancy sword like this."
Indeed. When the enemy closes in, it will serve you well.
And
Agreed.
He interjects too, and he says, "But Valinith, hopefully you don't ever have to worry about using it. I think your skill with a bow far exceeds any of our skill with a bow, so it is good to be able to protect, but you gotta also make sure to keep up the training, because many months of non-use can make you, well, not as proficient with the blade. For my
And
what I
Valnith
found.
chuckles. Valnith chuckles and says, "Ha ha, naive boy! You've never been on an adventure with me. Danger's my name, my second name. I will be using this, I'm sure. At some
Valinith
point.
Danger. Noted.
Valinith Danger, son of Morpeth. But no, it seems you've improved quite a bit too, Estel. It's impressive. Has he grown at all in the last little bit? I mean, I guess
a little bit. It
not
hasn't been
really.
too long. It's been since the beginning of when you guys had saved Kyrian. It's been about 2.5 months since that time, and so he hasn't really noticeably grown all that much. But yeah, he's grown a little.
Cool. Will young
He's
Estel...
still very impressive for what what his age is, because currently he's 16, and so he's not a boy. He's definitely like becoming a man, and he's.
Is that unusual for an elf?
Well, you've noted that he's not an elf.
I
You can
know,
tell that he's
but
not.
has Kyrian is my question, I guess.
I think so.
Oh, nice. Just
Didn't
a
we,
random
like-
boy.
I'm pretty sure I noticed that he was a Dunedain, didn't I?
I think so.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But
Yeah,
a young
like,
Dunedain,
there you go.
which actually is rare, because like seeing young Dunedain is one of those things that like you don't see every day.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. But
Can I
he's
make an
definitely-
insight check to see if I know who he is?
Sure, make an insight check for me.
No.
Cool.
Have to roll nat 20 on this sucker.
I'm just saying, like, I knew his father. I use it. Sorry, I don't use my own dice. I forgot. Insight. Nice. 15.
As far as exactly who he is, you know him as Estel, but
Yeah.
he does very much look to be about the age of Erathorn's lost son, essentially. And it's not like you can make your assumptions. I would say that like it's probably like a 50-50. You could probably say, yeah, this is probably Aragorn, but at the same time, it's like it could be another thing. Because one of the things that
Yeah.
a lot of the Dunedain do is they send their sons to elf lords to teach them how to be in combat, like to be raised in safety before being loosed out into the wild. And so
Yeah.
whether that includes like Gildor of basically the Wood Elf Rangers, which that's a big place for them, Círdan back in the Grey Havens in London, or whether it's Rivendell. It's not uncommon to see a boy being taken care of and raised by an elf lord.
Nice.
Nice. Well, speaking of which, I think this is our last day, and I still have so much to teach you, young Estel. However, I think you'll be in good hands with Lord Glorfindel over there.
Estel stops amid sword swing, and he looks to you and he says, "What do you mean it's your last day? Are you departing again so soon?"
Oh, no rest for the weary, ain't that right, Kyrian?
Right.
Yes,
But I feel well rested, so.
Well,
I do too, actually, now that you mention it.
what's your plan? Where are you going to go? He seems like quite eager, almost as if like the stories of like your next adventure. He's like waiting with bated breath to hear like what the next adventure is going to be.
Valnith
Put
is
my
really good
hand-
at telling his tales.
I put my hand on his shoulder and I look him in the eye and I say, "Young Estel, we go where no one goes."
He looks confused by this.
Yes. We're going where some people have been, maybe. I don't know. Maybe a good chunk of people. But
Oh.
not where you've gone, Kyrian. Or
Yes.
Estel.
Estel, he shakes his head and he's just like, "So your adventures are a secret then? I see."
I
He
don't
kinda
know
looks, like,
about
a
that,
little bit
actually.
sad about that.
Valnith looks to Kyrian and says, "What are our plans? I know you said you wanted to go get some sword in a lake, carried by some lady or something, but where are we going for that?"
We go where no one goes for that.
Oh, I see.
My
I see.
lad, one thing you will learn about being a ranger of the north is we must always speak in mystery.
You can see.
And I just have a slight twinkle in my eye.
I gotta have you.
I'm messing with them a little bit.
I gotta have you make an insight
Jolly
check
old
for
Saint
me.
Kyrian.
Nice.
Nice.
13.
13. As you say this, you could tell that very much Estel is taking mental notes of this.
And then I pat him on the back and say, only joking, lad, although a little dramatic flair, you know, maybe someday, if you ever need to, I don't know, have an important mission that's secret, you'll keep this in mind. Maybe come up with an alias. I, for one, like aliases that have to do with things that I do, like hunter, or walker, or something like that. And then, you know, you can sit all mysterious in the dark corners of an inn. Like the Green Dragon. That's a good one to do it. There's a nice fireplace. You can smoke a nice long pipe with your hood up so no one can see your face. But it'll be much time before you'll be in those sorts of situations, my boy.
He nods and he says, I'll make note of that, Master Kyrian. And he like bows, like giving you like a deep respect. And he says, one of these days I'm sure to best you with this blade. I feel like I'm getting closer. These past couple of weeks seem to have, I feel like I've improved quite a bit, thanks to your swordsmanship. Unfortunately, and he looks to basically backwards to the rest of Rivendell, and he says, I don't know why, but the battle style of Glorfindel and the other elves doesn't really seem to suit my strengths. Of course I can fight like them, but something just seems a bit off. But when I'm fighting in the style that you have, Master Kyrian, it feels more natural to me, if that makes sense.
Well, that is because I am a Dunedain, and I can see that you are not an elf. And those elves, well, they may be light-footed, but when you're not one, sometimes to try to move like one is an impossible task. It is better.
Which they have many more years of experience than I do. I think like the way that you fight is much easier for someone like myself who's much younger to pick up.
Are you saying I'm simple, lad?
No, of course not. And
That's all right if you are. I'm not always so serious. I am messing with you a little bit. Remember to have a sense of humor, Estel.
Again, noted. Thank you, Master Kyrian. And he bows very deep.
But of course, lad. Here.
Yes.
Have this pipe. Use it forever.
He takes it, and it's a nice long pipe. And he looks at it, and it's old, and it looks like it's seen some wear. It hasn't been cleaned out. As he's like looking at it, he's just like, oh, it smells ripe. And he says, Lord Elrond says I'm not ready to start smoking this yet. But I'll make sure to keep it secret until such a time when I can try my first leaf.
Of course. And keep it safe as well.
I will.
Yes.
I will. I will cherish this for as long as I live.
Keep it secret and keep it safe. It will
Until I
serve
have
you
a
well.
gray beard.
Yes.
Valneth not really paying attention to the conversation, is practicing his moves with his broadsword. He's like, what do you think, Kyrian? Am I elf-like? As he's trying to...
Well, you are an elf.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about my combat style, of course. Haha.
Is he elf-like? I don't know. How
Valid.
elf-like is he?
I'm gonna have you make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Nice.
A saving throw, dexterity. Let's see. Oh, 6.
I hear Nala.
Oh, do ya? Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I miss her. Anyway.
As a 6.
So 6. You are not so impressive. If anything,
nice.
it's clumsy. But when you're actually fighting with it, it's a little bit better. But when you're trying to show off your elven flair, it definitely could use some practice.
So I'm like the guy on YouTube from those early days with the mic boom, who's you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What?
Star Wars kid or whatever his name is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Valnith,
Yes.
you are
Yes.
a true elf. If I've ever seen
That I am. That I am. I appreciate the compliment. But speaking of which, we haven't met up with Kyrian or Califir as of late, and I think especially since we'll be leaving soon, maybe we go meet with them and
Yes.
discuss our plans moving forward.
I've always wondered what Kyrian thinks about things.
Sorry, Califir and
But-
Theodore.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. I'm Kyrian.
Yes.
And then I
Well,
whisper to
Estel?
Estel, see what I mean? A good sense of humor goes a long way, especially when you're around elves.
Huzzah to that. And
with
I guess
that,
we
the
head.
three of you
towards-
depart. You pack up your stuff and your training blades, and you make your way slowly back up towards the main hall. It's getting to be around 1 p.m., which means it is close to lunchtime. So as you make your way to the Great Hall, you pass by the stables. You don't see really anyone that's there. At least you don't see Theodoric. And as you pass through the threshold of the beautiful, elegant archway, you take a hard right into the dining hall, and you see, kind of in similar fashion to like how you would picture like the Hogwarts Great Hall, but instead of 4 long tables, there's one long table that goes basically all the way up the side with essentially like 5 chairs basically. So you have the main chair, which Elrond is sitting in, and then you have 3 empty chairs, 1 to his left and then 2 to his right, that are empty. But you see also a long table spread with all kinds of goods, and many elves have started eating at this point, and you can actually see Califir, Frothian, and Arthanath along with Theodoric also eating at the far end of the table closest to Elrond.
Well, it seems there's 3 seats open for us, shall we?
Yes. Seems like Providence.
So as you make your way over and you sit down, you see basically the 4 of them greet you, and Califir says, "So I hear you've been training with a blade, Valnith. How's that been going for you?" As he grabs like
Oh,
a
yes.
big flask of wine for lunch, and he just downed it.
Oh, yes, you should see me on the battlefield, majestic. And Kyrian even said I'm very elf-like out there.
And he kind of glances over like side-eyed at you, Kyrian, to try to see if what he's saying is true, as if asking for confirmation.
I give him a sly, subtle wink.
Oh, yes, I feel, and he's continuing to talk as this is all going. I feel like I've improved quite a bit. I think I'm going to be quite useful on our next journey. Just wait. If any big baddie comes after us, Valnith will protect the group. And he takes out his broadsword and then sheaths it.
And Theodoric kind of looks at you, and he says, "Is that okay to do at the table?"
I did it. To be said.
And
I
with
wanted to
that-
show my broadsword to Lord Elrond, right? He helped me purchase it, right?
Ah, yes, your patron.
Yes.
Here, here.
Oh, speaking of which, yes, here indeed. Speaking of which, Kyrian seems to have gotten quite a good relationship with Lord Glorfindel. It's quite impressive.
Yes, he is a master of the blade, and even a man such as myself can never stop learning from the masters.
Califir says there are few who can, even in as far south as Dol Amroth in the lands of Gondor. Legend only speaks of the ancient sword master Glorfindel. Seeing him in person, I will have to say that I'm quite impressed. I haven't made my way down to the battlefield, but from what I am told, he is unmatched, even for that of a captain of Gondor.
That is true. I don't think anyone could beat him, honestly. But I'm glad he's on our side at the very least.
And with that, Frothian, he speaks up. He's got a mouthful of bread in his, and he's got like an entire plate full, probably more than any of you together. And you can just see that he's enjoying it. And Frothian is much younger than Estel. He's probably around 12 to 13. But he looks up at the group of you, and he says, and he swallows. When are we going to go home? I feel like we've been here for a really, really long time. And Calefir says, speaking of which, Theodric informed me that we plan to set off sometime soon. What are our plans? Personally, I spoke with Elrond a bit, and he told me that I should, with Frothian and Arfanath, make my way to Círdan the shipwright at the Grey Havens. He said that I could charter a ship back down to Dol Amroth, and perhaps our adventures aren't done, if you would like to join us.
Why, of course. In fact, Círdan told me he wants to go a place where no one has ever been. Right.
So that doesn't include the
say
Grey
that.
Havens, does it?
Ah, yes. I've never been there myself. I wonder how I feel. However, Gondril, she's from the Grey Havens. I wonder if she'd want to join us as well. And he scratches his chin.
And with that, the question is brought up. What is your plans for your next adventure?
Yeah. Well,
To the
overgame.
Grey
Galladeth,
Haven.
you pull out a map from your cartographer's supplies, and you begin
Yes.
to start charting your next adventure as far as the plans. You do pull it out. The one who definitely has the most experience with the road is going to be Círdan. But everybody has their inputs about what they want to do. So if we look on the stream, everybody, so we have generally the kind of the middle of Eriador pulled up here. The main road that goes through basically east to west is a long road called the Greenway. It is a very, very heavily traveled area, as it's where most of the caravans, trade caravans, travelers go from Eriador all the way to Wilderland and even all the way to the Lonely Mountain. The most foot travel that you probably see is probably by dwarves from the Blue Mountains trying to make their way all the way to the Lonely Mountain. But there are a decent number of travelers that go between Wilderland, Eriador, through the High Pass. Particularly right now, it's like the beginning of July, so it is the height of summer at the moment, and so travel is very frequented at this point while the High Pass is safe to travel. But if you are to travel to the Grey Havens, the Greenway might be your best bet, and if you do travel through these, it will be considered a easy paths to be able to travel that way. There are many.
Speaking of which, go ahead.
There are many places to be able to think about, stop by if you do plan on making any side detours in the process. The first place that you will walk through is the Trollshaw. So if you guys all remember, this is where so this is like where like Bilbo fought like the stone trolls in the events of the Hobbit, like in kind of that forested area, and Gandalf turned them all to stone. There's kind of that whole area that leads, but right after you pass the Bruinen, which is the main bridge that goes up into kind of like the mountains of like the Misty Mountains foothills. Once you pass through there is days, probably 3 or 4 days of just travel in open road until you eventually come to the place of Weathertop. This will probably be your first opportunity to be able to find any Rangers caches or supplies, and because of the Dunedain feature that Círdan has, if you do need to at this point, you can take a long rest at this point, because it is technically a refuge of the Dunedain. And with that, you can then continue to travel onwards to Bree, through the Shire, and then all the way to the Grey Havens, which this overall at a normal pace travel without much sidetracking, you could probably stay a few days here or there, anywhere, whether it's Bree or anywhere along the way. You could probably make it to the Grey Havens in about a month
And Valnith is, as he's charting this out, he says, "This is easily paths, and I know we have Theodric here, and he's got his majestic brown horse with him. Wonder if things would be made quicker if we can perchance get some."
Can't hear you. Your mic went out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, no, weird. That was weird. Perchance, since where did you last hear what I said?
If we can get some.
Oh yeah. If we could get some horses, perchance, maybe we could make our way a little bit quicker. However, I don't know if Elrond would have any available for us. We could leave him with his kin in the Grey Havens and maybe have them sent back once we get there.
Make a traditions check for me, Valinith.
Traditions. Gosh, why is it so bad every time? 6.
Due to the nature of where Rivendell is, they don't keep a ton of horses on hand. What horses that they do have, they are used essentially for the cavalry, so they're war horses essentially. There are very few traveling horses. In fact, it's actually for most elves, it's quicker to just travel on foot from place to place than having to worry about horses. Horses are pretty much for elves. They are creatures of war. They're not creatures of travel.
Gotcha. That was just a thought. I know myself I could travel quite light of foot. I don't need a horse, but I'm thinking for maybe our younger cohort looking to, what's his name? Frothian. It's a long way. It's a month to a month and a week. Isn't super. It's easy traveling along the Greenway, but it is still quite a distance.
Theodric, he says, well, if anybody does need, someone can sit upon Barada if they wish to do so. Me, for one, I'm okay with walking. Walking is a peaceful thing for me. It helps me to keep my mind calm and at ease. Especially if we are traveling during summertime, I think it will be a pretty easy trail, at least for as far as what I would think.
What do you
Easy,
think,
but not
Tyrion?
without its perils. I look off into the distance and smoke my pipe.
And as you do, you're just smoking pipe at the lunch table. And as you do so, Caliph says, speaking of which, so we have seen trolls and all kinds of evil men further north. But what have you experienced on the Greenway as far as evils and perils? I've never traveled through Eriador, so I am curious, and I would like to be as prepared as possible so I can create he's very much taken his job as not the scout, the lookout seriously, so I can make sure to cover all of our bases as we make our journey.
Who said this?
Caliph here.
Nice. Well, these are dark times. So, trolls, orcs, goblins, I guess they're one and the same depending on who you ask and who's writing about them.
Are they in abundance, though? And he...
No, not along the Greenway.
You can see a little bit of relief as he looks to both Frothian and Arthanath, and he says, us men of Gondor, we are trained with a blade, and they still have actually the spears that they got from the Broken Keep as well. We are trained, so we are ready for a fight if a fight should come to us, but that does my heart well. After what we had experienced previously and with Captain Mormog, I just am hoping that we don't experience threats quite as that. If it is peaceful, I think that'll give us a better idea of just the general nature of how Eriador is these days.
Well, my rangers do their best to keep the Greenway as safe as possible.
And to that, I give you our sincerest gratitude.
Speaking of which, maybe we'll see some of your kinsmen on the way. I know you sent letters out ahead, but maybe we can get some more news on the ongoings of Mormog along the way.
This would be ideal. And perhaps I shall see Halberad again. It's been a fortnight or so since I've seen the lad. Ah, young Estel. Have you ever met Halberad?
can't say that I have. There's been very few Dunedain that have come to Imladris while I've been here.
Yes,
I remember that at least no children, anyone close to my age. You seem to be one of the younger ones that I've seen, actually, Master Kyrian.
Wow. I thank you. I am no spring chicken like Halberad or yourself, but yes, what we lack in youth, we make up for in wisdom.
I'll do what I can to be able to join the ranks as soon as possible.
Yes. How old is Halberad compared to
Halberad is
Estel?
like 21, 22. He's quite young, but not as young
Okay.
as Estel. He's older.
Yeah. Alright. Cool. Yes. But we shall, as often and as safe as possible, we shall keep in communication with my people along the route.
Oh, by the way, Kyrian, Cole, it is good to know that most Dunedain in training, they aren't allowed into the wilds on their first patrols until they are at least 18. So there's still a couple of years left with Estel to be able to train. And from what you've seen, his progress seems like he's capable enough as it is to be able to do what he can. But as per custom, that's usually what ends up happening is you have to be at least like of the years of adulthood before you are allowed to be part of kind of like the Rangers Corps in Eriador.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're not
Estel,
there
in fact.
quite yet, young Estel, but you will be a ranger soon enough.
A couple of years.
Well, you're actually quite similar in age, Estel, to our good buddy Theodric over here. I often forget that he is also like 19 years old.
Oh yes, this young whippersnapper and his whipper horse.
As he's just drinking ale. He's like, these are the joys that you'll be able to experience once you reach of age. FYI, Estel, it's not really a thing down in Rohan. We drink as soon as we're like 12, 13 years old. So.
It's a lawless place, Estel. Clearly.
Well,
It's a free place, that's what Theodric says, as he continues to drink his elven ale.
are there drinking ages in Middle Earth?
Typically, responsible drinking.
Well, yes,
We gotta
but
be
like
smart about that.
in general, like I just assumed
Depends
they
on
were
the
having
level.
wine at the age of 6 everywhere. Like I don't know.
Depends
Put a
on
thought
the
this
nipple
was
on that
like-
fucker.
If
Yeah.
you're being raised by Elrond, he is trying to be a good daddy.
all right. I mean, like them hobbits though.
You know, them hobbits, they'll drink alcohol
But I feel like-
from the bottle, the baby bottle.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not as much of a thing for them. You know, it's just like they like it, but I don't, anyway, I
They're
digress.
hardy folk.
Responsible drinking, always good. I just was curious because I feel like it's like old enough that it's like kind of similar to like biblical times where I feel like they drank much younger, but it wasn't like, you know, everyone was an alcoholic. I digress. All right, let us prepare for the journey.
We'll be going through Bree. I think people are alcoholics there, from what I've heard. I've only stopped by ever once or twice, maybe.
That is true. If anywhere had alcoholics, Bree would be the place.
And with that, the thing you can tell at this point, some time has passed as you've kind of mapped your course. Most of the elves have finished their meal and have gone off to do their thing. And in fact, Elrond has finished his too, and he's come down and kind of talked to you as a group as he just walks. He doesn't stop to speak, and he says, "When you have time, I would like to see you in my quarters." And he wanders away,
Wait, to
preferably
me?
before you leave.
To all of us, I think.
Oh,
Oh, yes. I think we should go get some wisdom from Lord Elrond before we do head out, especially because we are heading out away west. If he needs us to deliver any messages or anything out to his kin out west, I think maybe that could be a good opportunity to do so. Also, Kyrian, you said you were looking for something out west as well, right?
yes, the sword.
Ah, yes, the Sword of Legend. We'll have to find that as well. Hopefully it doesn't take us
Yes.
too long.
Caliphier mentions, he's like, "So I've heard you, the two of you, talking about this sword that you are looking for. What exactly is this weapon?"
Well, this fabled blade, given to the rightful heir and king of the kingdom, is given to the king by the Lady of the Lake, or sometimes it's in a stone. Just depends.
What it was. Wasn't it technically the sword of the warden of the Dunedain or something? Like
so the armor that you have, Kyrian, is armor of the warden.
Thank you.
Which was
Oh, hold on, let me-
I have it written down.
The second age.
No, first age or third age
Oh.
still. During the fall of Arnor.
Yes. Right when the Shire was being made.
What was his name?
Or soon after it was established.
Aranarth, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So Aranarth, he was basically when Fornost fell and the kingdom of Arnor was destroyed. Aranarth was the warden of King Arvindui, of basically the final king of Arnor. But after the king died, he and what was remaining of the Dunedain went out into the wild, and that's when the first Ranger Corps. So he was the first chieftain of the Dunedain, Aranarth. Legend says that he is a descendant of a ancient lineage of people of Arnor, and the blade that he had been passed down through generations. At least that's what Valineth had read. But this blade has been lost to time and is no longer in possession of the Dunedain.
So to reiterate, this sword belonged to not the king of Arnor.
Not the king of Arnor, but the chieftains of the Dunedain, which are basically the power that rose. So think of it more of how in Gondor you have the king of Gondor, which is Aragorn, but then you have the stewards of the throne, which are serve as king kind of in the absence of the king. That's what Aranarth was, and so the Dunedain are that. But the difference is Aragorn is actually descendant of the kings, and so. Most of the Dunedain are descendants of that warden's chain that exists today, and so they're not directly blood related, but any Dunedain technically can possess these artifacts or whatever because they still have Dunedain appearance. Which again, as I mentioned previously, that doesn't include Rangers of the North. Again, they're very different.
Right.
But specifically Dunedain.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And then this wasn't specifically mentioned in the prophecy thing, right? It was we
Valineth
got
did
there.
research.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't mentioned. You guys did some studying and found out about an ancient blade that could help.
Nice. Cool.
And with that, what are your plans? So you probably decide on when you are going to leave before you do depart. When do you want to leave? Do you want to leave first light tomorrow, or what? When is the case? So everybody's ready. So,
As soon as we can. I mean, as long as people have done their rest phase or whatever.
I think what we should do is we should talk to a few people. I know Valineth wants to talk to Gondrel since we're going out to meet her people. Maybe she would also be a pretty good guide out west if she's ready to do so. So depending on how long it takes her to get ready, I think there's a couple things we need to do. So let's talk to a couple people first and then kind of decide on our departure, if that makes sense.
And then, I assume we will head as far along the Greenway as we can. Through the Cholsas. I mean, I'm trying to think of stopping points. I mean, Weathertop, Bree.
So for sure, you have to pack enough stuff to get you to Weathertop, which means by getting rations, and the Rivendell will provide you with some rations and whatnot.
Sure.
But basically, you can only carry so much, right? And so enough rations to get you to Weathertop, because most of the refuges of the Dunedain, they have hidden caches where Dunedain restock from time to time, but also they are able to grab stuff for the road so that they aren't slowed down. And so there should be enough food or whatever, at least to get you to Bree, so you guys can restock stuff from at that point. So at that point, it's probably, if you guys, without any interruption from Rivendell to Weathertop, you're talking about 2-ish weeks.
Okay.
A little less,
Cool.
a little less than 2 weeks. Close to like
Yeah.
10, 11 days.
Okay. And then from there to Bree, I would assume.
Is a technically from Weathertop to Bree, it's about a day and a half journey. It's not super far from there.
Cool.
So.
And then I'm sure we will pass through the Shire as the Greenway does.
And the Shire is very long and expansive, and so you have to make your way through all the farm countries. Hobbiton is kind of like just off the Greenway, way like north of it, like closer to the western edge of basically the western edge of the reaches of the Shire. And then after you pass through there, you see the White Towers, which actually I'm gonna have the two of you make history checks.
By the way, I also, before I forget, I want to use my news from afar. Basically, at the start of each adventuring phase or after spending time in the sanctuary, the lore master should inform you of 1 or 2 events of importance occurring somewhere in Eriador.
All right.
So I also want to use that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let me pull up some notes about stuff. So during this time, during this month that you have, I'm trying to find something that's useful for you. Give me a
17,
second,
by the
I'll
way.
do-
My history. Yeah, it's all good.
24 for me.
The two of you know about these White Towers. They're essentially the furthest east edge of the Kingdom of Linden, which is there's a few townships that exist within the Kingdom of Linden that are run by the elves, but the most notable of them are the Grey Havens. However, on the far eastern end, there are 3 White Towers. These White Towers are representative of the Kingdom of Arnor back in the days of old, and in the fall of Arnor, they were taken responsibility by Círdan the Shipwright. And this is actually one of the locations of the long lost, well, not long lost, but essentially Elendil's Palantir is in one of these towers. And so it is a very, very protected and safe site. But once you have reached these White Towers, you now know that you are in the Kingdom of Linden, and are probably a day or 2 out from reaching the Grey Havens. So just a little bit of historical context.
For me as the player, I'm sure Kyrian would know this. The Grey Havens are where, at the end of The Lord of the Rings, they departed from, or where they went to?
No, so it's the city that they depart from. So there's like this large kind of like
Okay.
and at the city itself where they leave is called the Grey Havens. So
Got
the
it.
west is Valinor, so that's way off to.
So they sailed to Valinor at the end.
sailed to Valinor.
I think I've always been confused because I always thought they sailed to the Grey Havens.
I thought so
and I'm
too.
like, all right, cool. Like,
in days of old,
nice.
but
yeah.
so
all right.
the Grey Havens specifically is the city that Círdan takes care of. So
All right, and that's where they like get on the ship at the end.
exactly,
Okay.
it's a beautiful, beautiful city. So
Yeah. that's
somewhere to
good.
look forward to getting to.
Cool.
So both of you know this information about these White Towers, and you know what to look for, knowing you're on the right path. As far as news from afar, rumor has that the movements of the enemy seem to be slow-paced, particularly in the north. There hasn't been a lot of change on in Eriador as a whole, as in like looming darkness, like threats of bandits or anything like that. But from what Eladin and Elro here have been able to divulge from spying in the northern areas, the trolls have departed from the Broadcleave, and the Broadcleave is now abandoned completely. There is no longer any presence of the enemy that are there. Many of these villains have gone westward, with a huge portion of them making their way towards Mount Orem, which, as you know, is a very, very evil place, and it has basically never really been rid of all of the evil that exists within. There's been attempts at it in the past, but there really hasn't been. And then many of the men have disappeared into the wildlands of Rudar. As far as anything on the road and the Greenway, right now seems like a relatively safe time.
Okay.
And rumor actually has it as well that there is a visitor who is planning to make a pit stop from Londare, which is like a town to like this like southern Eriador. They're like on like one of like the main rivers that are there, that have a boat with potential some good cargo to be able to have. So the individual that you are looking for, if you do eventually get to the Grey Havens and find them, is a man by the name of Eager, Eagre, the sailor of Londare.
ERE.
Eagre.
Okay. Cool. Quick question. Would Valnith know if there's anyone still at the Broken Keep? Since they had abandoned the Broadcleave, but what about the Broken Keep?
The Broken Keep seems abandoned too. Basically, everybody has made their way westward from the Horwell, and so they're like, I mean, there's still like trolls and stuff about like in the Coldfells, but as far as the Broken Keep is concerned, the Dunedain have actually taken care of that. So that was one of the things that after Valnith has sent his message out, and Eladin and Elro here kind of in the north as well, is they've made sure to sweep the place clean. So the Broken Keep is now no longer occupied by orcs.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, Valnith disseminates this information saying, yes, this is a good time for us to leave, and also, seems like the Broadcleave and the Broken Keep, from what I've heard from Eladin and Elro here, is empty at this point. So it seems they have made a march. However, the enemy has stayed quiet. But I'm sure we'll learn more information as we meet your kindred, Kyrian.
Yes, indeed. Let us prepare to leave.
And with
Shall we go see Lord Elrond quickly?
Yes. Just so you guys know, I need to make a quick bio break. So
Yeah,
here.
no worries. We can do the Gondrel stuff first.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. And so as you begin to get your stuff ready, the Orphanath and Frothian and Califir, they make their way back up to the rooms and make sure they have their packs all set for early departure in the morning. And the same with Theodric. He makes his way back down to the stables to prepare the packs. But there's been something on your mind, Valnith, particularly Gondrel, as she and Caranthiel have kind of formed a little bit of a bond and a friendship. But the last that you had spoken to her, she seemed like she was still healing to a degree. So you go seek her out. And the first place that you would think to look is the Hall of Fire. I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
Perception. Theoretically, I'm good at that. Let's see. Let's see what the dice says. Above average, 11.
You do find her here. As the afternoon begins to pass and the first rays of evening sun come into the Hall of Fire, this is definitely your favorite time of the day here. There are a number of elves here, including Gondrel, who seems to be reading something from the bookshelves of this library that's here.
Valnith politely approaches and says, "Ah, Gondril, I see you're still recovering and reading. How has your time in Rivendell been? I know you've only been here for a little over a month."
She pauses, keeps her place with like her finger on in the text, and she looks up and she says, "Valineth, it's good to see you. I'm gonna have you make an insight check for me."
Insight? Theoretically, I'm good at this too. Let's see. Not
All the
today.
wisdom-based things.
Not today. 8.
She looks to you, and you can tell that she looks still weary, but she looks better from when you had spoken to her last, after your first conversation about a month ago with Elrond. She looks to be a little bit better, a little bit more healed, and she says, "Well, what brings you here, Valinith? I've seen you studying here and there, but it's been a few weeks since I've seen you really in here much. Have you been okay?"
Ah, yes. Well, you know, the life of being on the road ain't no rest for the weary. As you know, and basically without role-playing it too much, Valnith gives a brief explanation of all the ongoings of Mormog and everything that's going on, since she was kind of enveloped in it, he figures he'd give her like a brief, a brief overview of everything. And in fact, usually I would be spending all my time in the library. I did spend quite a bit of time there, studying up for what is to come, with this prophecy and all. However, I've actually been spending most of my time down at the training grounds, training with a new weapon, my broadsword. And he pats it on his hip.
She says, that looks very nice. Much higher quality than what we use on the road. Did you get it from the blacksmith that's here?
I did at quite a hefty penny. Luckily, because I am doing favors for Lord Elrond, he pitched in, luckily, which was nice.
She shakes her head as if actually genuinely interested in this blade, and she says, it looks expensive. Hopefully it serves you well.
Yes. If you'd like to see it, he offers it to her.
She takes it, and she examines the craftsmanship of it. And she says, yes. And she smiles, yes, indeed. This will serve you well in battle. It will cut down many a foe. Do be careful, though. Artifacts such as this tend to go missing while on the road. Keep an eye on it. There are many creatures, people, brigands, that would love to get their hands on a elven-made weapon such as this.
Ah, yes, I will be careful. Thank you for the reminder. And he resheaths the sword. However, on our next adventure, we'll be setting off in due time. Calefir, my companion, his two young, his young esquire and his advisor, they're making their way back down to Gondor. We're actually heading towards the Grey Havens, towards the home of your kin.
Are you now? And she says, my job is to be out on the road, and it's been some time since I visited Linden. I miss the waves. I miss the call of the birds. And you could tell that that's something that is deep on her heart, almost as if the inevitable for all elves is beginning to settle into her heart, as if she is dreaming about a departure.
Well, I wanted to offer to see if you were well enough to come with us. If not, do not worry. The house of Lord Elrond will be here always for you to be able to rest at for as long as you need.
And I appreciate it. It's your people and their relationship with me and my Lord Gildor that, well, it gives me hope that Eriador and the peoples of Middle-earth aren't completely abandoned. I don't think my time is up here yet. And she kind of gives like a soft smile, and she says, I do think I need a little bit more time here, though. There are some scars that only time can mend.
Understandable. That was quite an ordeal you went through. However, don't lose sight of your purpose here on Middle-earth. We are put here for a reason, after all. And I find, I don't know, I'm still naive in the ways of an elf is, but I feel like we're all put here for a reason. And so hopefully you can continue to find that reason here. However, speaking of which, do you have any news you want us to deliver to Linden or anyone there?
If you do run into any of my kin, the elves of Gildor, let them know that I'm safe. I will be rejoining them in the coming months. But as for now, I'm resting. Tell them where you found me, and tell them that I am in full support of your purpose on what you wish to do. We need to make sure that everyone, all of our ranks, are on their toes. The enemy is moving. I know that.
I appreciate
now more
it.
than ever.
I appreciate it, my friend. And obviously, you and your people are more than welcome here anytime. However, I do have something to ask of you if you do intend on staying. So, I didn't put you into meetings with Corinthial the young wood elf, for not for I did it for a reason, I should say. She has been through a lot, and as a young elf, she hasn't had really anyone of good. Well, anyone good to be able to really raise her. Her only companion was probably the wildest and most radical elf lad I knew. I feel like she hasn't had anyone to really help her mature in a way.
Is that so?
Yes, and I know you've been through a lot, but you've also been on this Middle Earth for quite some time. And I know you have a wisdom that could be very, very helpful to her. I do worry about her, in particular this young lad. As I had said, he was part of my party back when I was in Wilderland. His name is Feanor. The more I think about it, I don't know if her heart is still attached to him. However, I'm afraid that if she doesn't let go of that relationship, she won't go any she won't continue to grow as a woman. As I know Feanor from my talks with him, he's past her. He doesn't have any feelings, romantic feelings for her. He doesn't have anything of the sort. In fact, I fear that he's off on his own, and who knows if his radical ways he'll even make it back from any adventure. However, I don't want Caranthiel to be brought down by him or her previous lover, and she explains a little bit about Maeglin and everything that's gone on. I don't know how much she has told you about that, but before she departs, continue to give her your wisdom. Continue to give her, again, as I have been talking to you about. Continue to remind her that she has a purpose here, even though it seems like maybe she has nothing. Help her grow in wisdom before she goes back to the woodland realm. Especially because she is technically a deserter from there. Maybe give her some tips and tricks to help earn King Thandril's graces as she makes her way back.
She nods and she says, I'll do what I can. Caranthiel is motivated. She's doing all that she can to become a healer. I can tell that there are past hurts, there are issues that she deals with deep down. But the more that I've come to know her and the more that I've come to talk with her, I think we need not worry about her. She plans to be home. She knows where home is. She will do what she can to make amends.
Yes, she is quite mature for her age as an elf. However, the one thing I do worry about her is every single one of her relationships she's ever had has been broken. And I'm afraid that might have repercussions. I hope she knows, and if I don't get the opportunity to talk to her before I leave, and if she's gone by the time I get back, I hope she knows she's family. Not only with me, but with Theodric and with us here in Rivendell, and hopefully too with you, Gondril. That she's not alone in this world, and hopefully she can make amends. I worry about her. It seems like she's a little sister to me.
How long do you plan on leaving?
Well, we are making your way out to Linden, to the Grey Havens, as we said. That should be a month that way. I do know we may make a few stops along the way to Kirian's Dunedain counterparts and maybe checking in with them. I do hope to stop back in Rivendell before we make our way up north. However, I don't know. If we kind of find ourselves caught up in the ongoings of Mormog, it may be quite some time before I'm back.
If I don't see you before you do return, I want you to know where to find me and my people. And she asks you to pull out your map.
All right, and he does.
In the Old Forest, which is close to like Hobbiton, like a little bit south, not Hobbiton, like south of the Shire, and west of Bree, there is a refuge there where Gildor and his people live. This is a place that isn't actually on most maps, and it's a place that has remained hidden. If you need any help from my people, you run into any trouble, my Lord Gildor would be more than happy to help, especially knowing that you know me. And with that, she pulls out. She takes off like a small pin off of her chest, and she hands it to you as proof of your knowing me. When we meet again, return it. But until then,
I appreciate it.
keep it.
I appreciate it. It is, especially in these growingly dark days, those who seek the light must stay together, and I appreciate it. And it seems in my time here, I've also learned quite a bit from you, and learned how to trust as well. So I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your time here. I will definitely let Gildor know that you are safe. I will also let him know of the news out to east, at least east from him, and I will return this, I swear. And gives her a bow.
And she says, "Until we meet again."
Yes, may the road go ever onwards. And Valnith goes back, I guess, to the group to meet with Elrond.
Yeah, everybody
Nice.
has gotten their stuff taken care of, and you all meet at kind of the entrance to the Great Hall. It takes a little bit for Theodric to get back, as you see him making his way back up the slopes to the Great Hall. But you eventually do all meet up together and are ready to depart. Or not depart, to make your way to the basically the chambers of Lord Elrond. You have to make your way up to the 3rd floor of the building. This is actually an area that very few, maybe you're the only exception of like people who have actually been to this area. And this is the private chambers of Elrond and his family. So Elro here and Eladin, they also are up here, along with a few other vacant rooms that are there as well. But by the time you make your way up to this 3rd floor, you are actually greeted by Lindar, who says, yes, Lord Elrond is expecting you. Follow me."
Oh, Lindar, good to see you, my good sir.
And he nods and he smiles. "I'm glad to see that the wearies of the road haven't driven your spirit away, Valinith."
Oh, it will never be the case, as we are an adventuring group together, ain't that right, Kyrian?
Yes.
"If you would follow me." And you are led down a long hallway to 2 grand doors that are the entrance to Elrond's chamber. Lindar knocks and he says, "Your guests have arrived, my lord." And he opens both doors and he stands to the side as he lets you enter. As you make your way to the back of this room, basically where this room is situated is it is the room that is above the front porch, which is what looks over kind of the waterfall and everything. The second floor isn't existent in this part, but it's basically this long overhang, and you can see that there are many shelves of very ancient books in his personal stores. Specifically, the one that details the fall of Gondolin, sitting on his desk, and he actually has a basically kind of like a square cake topper that has been placed on top of it to keep it from any winter. He turns around from looking out the windows and he says, "Good, come. I have much to discuss with you." And he offers you all a seat. There are a number of chairs that are set up for him to be able to offer you as he goes and he sits behind his drawing table. He says, "So you plan to depart, making your way to the west, is that true? Is that correct?"
Yes, that is correct.
"My son's
Caliphyr here. Oh, I was just saying, Caliphyr here, he's got to get his cohort home. They've spent a lot of time here in Eriador as of late."
Elrond nods and he says, "Good. You go to the land of my kin. Linden is perhaps the most ancient kingdom of the elves in all of Middle-earth. And Círdan, he's a good elf. If you know who to look for the tall one. Long gray beard. This is something that's weird. Elves don't have facial hair. Círdan is known specifically for having a long beard. He says he's the oldest and wisest of our kind that still exists in Middle-earth. He has much information to be able to assist you in your journeys. I'm sure he will provide it to you. As for the events of what had just transpired a month ago, the Broadcleave, Eladin, and Elro here have told me of much of the movements of Mormog. It seems that he has disappeared into the depths of Mount Graham. Many of the trolls have once again taken up residence back in the Cold Fells, and many of the wicked men have made their way westward. We will continue to track their movements. The Dunedain have done their part in clearing out many of the abandoned structures in the Cold Fells and those that are creeping more south towards our borders. You're going to have to thank them for me if you do find them, Círdan. And with that, he also says, and now for the matter at hand. And he makes his way over to the table where the Fall of Gondolin is kept, and he lifts up this kind of like cake topper and puts it to the side, and he opens the book and he says, I'm currently having some of my best writers transcribe this. Much of the information that was here, much before my time here in Middle-earth, is priceless. This is not only an artifact of great history, but it gives us a deeper insight into the minds of Morgoth, into the minds of the evils that once existed here in Middle-earth. But something was peculiar. And he opens towards like 2/3 of the way back towards the end of the text, and he pulls out a loose piece of paper. It looks just as old as the rest of the book, but it does seem as if it were inserted here and not attached. And he says, that isn't until I came across this. And there's just a short phrase in the middle of the parchment, handwritten in a very fine handwriting. However, in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a very dried splattering of blood that is on it. And I'm curious of what you would make of this. I went ahead and I sent it in the session resources in our AME Discord.
Ooh.
But it says on it, the shadow of my thought shall lie upon them wherever they go, and my hate shall pursue them to the ends of the earth. What do you make of this?
What language is it in? Do we know?
It's in Sindarin.
Oh. Well, let me look at it. Give me a second.
Make history checks for me.
History checks. I could do that. History.
Is this the Great Feanor? I know
19.
he was angry a lot.
19 history check. What was yours, Kiri?
24.
12. Oh, 24. Yeah.
Perhaps, Kirian, you have a mind for these things, but this seems perhaps different. I'm unsure of what quite to think of this. However, Kirian, as you look at this piece of parchment, something deep inside of you moves, almost as if these words pierce your heart. These ring true to you. Valinith, as you look upon this text, especially with the help of bringing up Feanor, the ancient Feanor, not other Feanor from Wilderland, but the ancient Feanor, your mind is racked through all the histories that you've read about the First Age, and This looks to be based off of your just general explanation written at the same time as the events of this book were put together, almost as if this has been kind of like an errata that has been added to the text before the text was lost to time. However, you are unable to quite discern and determine exactly what this means and what this says. As Theodric and Caliphyr look, it means nothing to them. They look at it and they think it's just like Caliphyr mentions, it's like, this looks to be some kind of dour verse from times of old. But other than that, I cannot be of assistance here.
And Valineth mentions it is an edition, it seems. However, it does seem to be as old as this book. So whoever did write it wrote it at the time that this book was published.
And,
So they're old words.
And Elrond does concur with that. He's like, that's what I wanted your thought of. But this blood.
Is it
And
fresh?
He looks over. It's not fresh. It's very dried, like very, very old.
Alright.
It almost it's like so dark it almost looks like just ink stains. But as you look closer, there is just that touch of red to show that it is blood stains. But with you, Kyrian, as this kind of pierces your heart, you have this eerie feeling, almost as if these words are the words of a curse.
Hmm. Seems like some sort of curse to me.
And Elrond kind of like looks at you like seriously. He like gazes up at you and like narrows his gaze, and he says, "I see." He takes it and he basically puts it under like a separate little topper, and he puts it down and he says, "I pondered these words, trying to figure out any members in history that may have said something just like this, but none come to mind." And this is actually quite interesting because, at least Valineth, you would know this. As far as lore masters in the world of Middle-earth, Elrond is the primary one. This is something that, like, if there was like hidden information that he would have, that anyone would have any insight on, he would be the one to know. But he has no idea what to make of this. He says, "There is one that is older than I here in Middle-earth, Círdan." And he takes another piece of fresh parchment and he writes down exactly word for word. He folds it, he puts it in an envelope, and he gives it to you, Kyrian. "While you are on your journeys to the Grey Havens, give this to Círdan. Perhaps he can help."
Of course.
And with that, he says, "I will make sure that you are all prepared for everything that you need between now and your journeys." But it seems that you are traveling light, as he sees that pretty much all you guys have is like your bags and your luggage. And he says, "To each of you," he gives each of you one basically ration of Olympus.
Oh, nice. It's so good.
This is way brave.
Nice.
Very difficult to make and very finicky. But your journey is long across the entire breadth of Eriador. Use it when you absolutely need to. Especially when things seem at their darkest. And with that, he pulls Valineth aside before you leave, and he gives you, and Valineth, use this wisely. You are a healer of great skill. You know how to use this. And he hands you a vial of your
Of course, much obliged. I'm sure this will come in handy in the darkest of times. I appreciate it, Lord Elrond. I do have one thing to ask before we do head out.
anything.
Watch over my mother. She seems to be very concerned about my adventuring these days. I think she, deep in her mind, it reminds her of my father. I don't think she wants me to be lost like she has been. So just watch over her for me while I'm gone.
And he nods and he says, "Our work is never finished. I'll make sure to keep an eye over her, and as we continue to hone our healing skills, I'll do what I can to be able to reassure her that you have grown. I've seen you training with your sword. I've seen you training with your bow. And with the companions such as these around you, she should be rest assured that you are in good hands, Valeth."
That's what I keep telling her as well, but mother worries, I fear. But, yes, I will hold you to your word, Lord Elrond, jokingly, as he bows and makes his leave.
He smiles and he says, "And don't forget, while you're on your journeys, do what you can to be able to find some herbs. You can sell those. You know.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. I'll pay you back someday, Lord Elrond.
Oh no. As long as you heal, you do what you can to make sure that all of them stay healthy. Your debt is repaid in full."
Ah, you are too generous, my lord. And he bows and leaves. Enjoys the party.
That, the group of you prepare for your departure. At the gates, in order to leave Rivendell, I'm going to actually have you guys, each of you can add 10 rations to your inventory.
Nice.
Is that on top of Theodric's 50 that he already
Yeah,
has?
it's on top of his 50.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I'll take the
And,
rations.
you can add 10 rations to your inventory, and as you depart, there are a number of people who basically greet you at the gates, being Estel, Valinith's mom, Gondrel and Cranthiel, Lord Elrond, and Glorfindel. They all watch you as you depart, leaving the valley. You once again feel the weight of the world press down upon you, and the light, positivity that you felt while within the valley is suddenly lifted, in the realities of the world and the shadow that exists now weighs heavy upon you as you begin to depart. Kyrian, I'm
Yo.
going to have you make a departure roll. So this is a D8 plus your wisdom modifier.
Cool. Okay. Plus wisdom 6.
Nice. That's solid. I feel like this is important. Someone, if you got it, use it. Got it, use it. You know what I'm saying? Here, I'm gonna do this.
Was that bad?
No.
I feel like 6 was.
Oh, is it a D8? It's a
Yeah.
D8. Oh, sorry. I thought that was a D20. Never mind.
Yeah. I was like, I mean,
I was half paying.
that's like average for a D8, you know?
Yeah, it's good. Never mind.
It's a little
We're good.
below average.
We're chilling.
Just give me a second to modify. I should have prepared with this on my approach.
All good. We're going into known lands for a good chunk.
You are
so-
going into no lands for a very good chunk. I would even argue that the entirety of the Greenway is very, very known lands to the Rangers, but
Let's go buffs.
to find it.
Well, that is until you get to what's it called, the Shire.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
And then
what
there are
is
strange
this?
folk out there.
What is
yeah,
this
there's
place?
strange
There
folk.
are short people that are just everywhere.
Do I know Gandalf? Like, do all the Dunedain know him, or is
No,
just
very,
Eriador?
very few people know him actually.
Alright.
There's like rumors of the Grey Pilgrim, but he doesn't make himself known.
Yeah.
Very well. Okay, so you said 6.
Right. So I wouldn't know who Bilbo is.
Oh, everyone knows Bilbo.
Actually, Bilbo's more well known than Gandalf is, just because of like his exploits and everything. He's like the Hobbit. He's made a stir in the Shire too. Like everybody talks crap about Bilbo because of like he often travels to and from Rivendell
Okay.
in the Shire. So,
Cool.
with that being the case, take that with
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
So all wisdom check and investigation check. So all wisdom or investigation, any succeeding may remove a level of exhaustion. Any failing receive a level of exhaustion. The rules are subject to disadvantage and advantage application. Okay, so I'm gonna have everybody make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom.
Oh.
Theoretically, I'm good at this. And I was good at this time. 25.
19.
15.
That's all we need. We don't even need to roll for Kyrian or for Theodric. Because with that, oh come on now, my notes. With that, at the end, when you do eventually make your way to the Grey Havens, you will get +1 to your arrival roll.
Nice.
So remember that. Someone mark that down because I am not going to remember that.
All right. Let's all write it down. +1 to arrival roll.
In Grey Havens.
I'll
At
highlight
this
it
too, Valinith also tells about the conversation he had with Gondrel and says, if we need her in any need, we can always stop by the old forest south of the Shire and ask for the leader down there.
With that, you begin your descent. It is early morning in early July as you begin to make your way down the mountainside, and by the end of the day, you find yourself at the borders of the Trollshaws, before the Greenway forks either side or cuts right through the middle of the forest. This is one of the more dangerous parts of the journey, as it were, just generally speaking. And with that being the case, I'm going to have you, I guess Caliph here, because he's the lookout. So speaking of which, what are your rules? Are you just keeping the same rules that your travel rules?
I think so. What was I
Yeah.
again? I don't remember
you
what
were, I
Valinith
believe,
was.
the scout.
Okay.
So as the lookout,
As he sets up camp, he's also gonna look. He's gonna look for some nearby vegetation, as Elrond said.
yes, make a nature check for me, and I am going to make a perception check for. It's a
Also, just remember,
6.
the DC of our personal event tests are lowered by 2,
Oh,
and
that's good
the
to know.
peril rating of the journey is lowered by 2
Mm.
because I'm the guide and it's
So
known
technically,
That's
so
pretty
because of that, and because you are the guide, your journey is considered very easy. The peril
Nice.
is almost non-existent.
Cool.
And with that being the case, that actually helps a lot with this 6 for a perception check from
Nice.
Caliph here. And as you set up camp for the night, the evening goes by completely quiet. There is no sign of people on the road or even animals on the road on either side. And the evening passes without much. Did I
Cool.
accidentally close down my Sirenscape? Give me a second.
Valinith gets a 9, by the way, on his nature check.
Let's see what I would have gotten.
So
A 9
now,
as well.
as you are examining kind of the forest and the kind of the ooze of the forest, I hear, you are able to find a sprig of cannabis.
Nice. I wasn't expecting to find anything, so that's real nice. Cool.
But it's dark. You can hear bird calls in the distance, and the fog from the Misty Mountains seems to not really be coming down this time of the year. The morning eventually does come, and daytime promises a nice, smooth journey. At this rate, you'll be able to get through this first section of the Trollshaws within a day and a half to do so.
Nice.
I'm going to have Kyrian, as you travel everybody through this, I'm going to have you roll a survival check for me.
Nice. Hold on. I'm checking to see If I get advantage,
How many rations at this
no.
point? Two
So,
rations.
yeah. So if you can consume 2 rations for everybody.
We're not tracking anyone, so I think it's normal. Okay.
Perfect.
Survival,
this.
you said?
Survival, yes.
15.
Pretty good.
It's kind of strange, actually. Maybe it's the increased Dunedain activity, being more on high alert, but the normal. You can usually sense when there are trolls within the eaves of the forest, especially as you are during the nighttime. You can hear large grumbles off in the distance, but lately that hasn't been the case. You can take that as a good sign, especially for you and your adventures going through the Trollshaws here in this kind of like scattered hill country. And you're able to find the tracks quite easily. The rain seems to have been let up, and the nice dry roads and everything, and you are able to cut down your journey through the Trollshaws by half a day. So all it takes is just a single day in order to get from here all the way to the bridge that crosses the Horwell. And as you do so, you find yourself in giant, flat, barren land. And as you squint very, very far off in into the distance, you can see just the very, very dotted view of Weathertop, which is about a couple of days' journey. I'm going to have actually volunteer now. As you make your way into this area as a scout, I'm going to go ahead and have you make an investigation check as you kind of just scour around the area to see what is going on, if there are any possible tracks of evil creatures that can make their way through.
It's so bad.
Valinith, what do you see with your elven eyes?
Not much. I see a 7.
Oh.
To either side of the road, you can tell that there is actually at this point been some traffic. It doesn't look to be a ton. There are some kind of dusted footfalls that are here and there. Mostly people going west, as if probably 3 or 4 days ago a wagon caravan had come through here. With that being the case, they seem to have come from the west from the High Pass. But you don't see any tracks of any orcs, goblins, trolls especially, or anything of the sort. It seems like all is clear as you continue to make your way across this area.
It seems clear and flat.
Make a survival check
Nice.
for me, Kieran.
All right.
I believe in you.
This next leg of the journey takes you from the bridge of the Horwell all the way to it's a 4 days of travel. 23.
Nice. 23. Yeah, that was almost not a great number. It was almost a 9, but
Nice. This takes you this
Big
this
point.
stint is probably as you know, Kyrian, the easiest of all of them. In any place crossing Eriador, and mostly because of how abandoned and flat it is. In the wintertime, it's rough. This is the worst because of how the wind blows, but during the summertime, it's actually pleasant. One of the things that you notice as you continue your not slow, but average march across this area is the weather seems to be keeping up for you. At this point, usually in July, it's very, very hot, little bit humid, but the sun really bears down on you. But there's a decent amount of cloud cover that you're able to really take on kind of some like soft breezes, meaning you guys don't have to take any Constitution saving throws to get any points of exhaustion. It's very comfortable. It's warm. And setting up camp each of these nights is quite easy. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and make my perception check with, so that's going to be a 13. And every night over these 4 days seems to be peaceful. It seems to be no interruptions or anything. And as you continue to walk this road, the tracks that continue to go west seem to become more numerous, almost as if there are tracks that kind of join off the road onto the road, but all of these seem to be caravans of some kind, whether they're coming from the angle or whatnot, but they're all coming from the south and joining onto the road. But you can see that you're starting to get to a point where it is much more well-traveled. now. But you haven't seen any travelers while you have been making your way, and you're not really doing much to be inconspicuous as you continue. You can see that Frothian and Arfanath are doing what they can to be able to enjoy the sights. This is much different terrain than they're used to down in Gondor. If anything, the wilderness seems to be probably some of the most peaceful areas that probably could exist right now in Middle Earth, and that brings great comfort to everybody. Spirits are high as you continue closer and closer to Amansul, which is Weathertop. And with that being the case, you hear Frothian, and during the night, probably the third night, you can see you're close enough to Weathertop now where you can see it in the distance, even in the darkness. And you're probably about a half day's journey out from it, and it actually poses a very intimidating view, almost haunting. It's a broken tower, and the history of this tower is a lot of it is shrouded in mystery. From what the Dunedain know, is this was a place of hot contention between the armies of the kingdoms in Cardolan, which is the area south of the Greenway, and then Rudar, which is the areas north of the Greenway, back in the days before the fall of Arnor. And most of the time, the men of Cardolan, they were able to keep this stronghold as a watch, but it kind of went to and fro. But many wars and battles were fought here, and with that, there is rumor that this place is haunted. Obviously, you know that this is complete BS, as this is for Kyrian, but it definitely gives off this haunted feel, and you are making your way close enough to the downs, especially the South Downs, and then the Weather Hills to the north, where fog has begun in the evenings to be able to creep forward, giving more of kind of this eerie and haunting glow. Everybody except for Kyrian needs to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Ooh. Pretty good.
11
19.
It's an 11 for Caleb here. Let me go ahead and pull up the Adrix character sheet real quick. What was yours, Dave?
19.
19. Okay. And then, yeah, Valinith, as you are camping for the night, at this point, Calefir kind of knows what to expect during this journey. However, Valinith, this is something that is not odd to you, mostly because you had spent much time in the Misty Mountains with a lot of the fog and everything. This just seems kind of like another average summer night to you. You do not gain any points of shadow. Calefir does not gain any points of shadow. And then a
Nice.
saving throw for that's Valinith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Wait,
Also,
are we in the
I will.
I was thinking Valinith. I need to pull up the Adrix.
I
You were
will have given that information you just gave us to the group while we are approaching.
Okay. That the stories are BS about the.
Yeah, I mean, I won't exactly say it like that, but I'll give them a little more hope to not be afraid of it, but still not completely just tell them it's BS. I still got to keep up a little bit of the rumor.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you're fine while you're with me.
And this does bring some comfort to everybody in the company, especially Theodric and Calefir look to you as this almost looks kind of like a fallen tower of evil off in the distance. But with your comfort, even Frothian, who seems the most terrified of the group, seems to find a little bit of comfort knowing that as long as Kyrian's here, no ghosts are going to come out, and ghosts from the fog are going to come out and mess with you. And so the night carries on, and it goes undisturbed, as morning brings you half a day journey from the Broken Watchtower of Amansul.
Nice.
You travel.
Can Valinith take a look as it becomes more vegetated, for more herbs of sorts?
Yes. So around this area, one of the things that why it's a really good, not only because it has great views of the surrounding area, but because of the abundance of vegetation that grows in the ruins of these areas as well. So Valineth, you can go ahead and make a nature check, and you can have it at advantage.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Hopefully we won't need it. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, that's the first roll. Well, I'll take the 17 as opposed to the 3.
Perfect. As you grow closer and you look kind of at the sides, not too far off the beaten track, doing your scouting duties, but also looking for any herbs or vegetation in the process, you find that it is abundant with weeds and life that are out here. You see many rabbits and squirrels and whatnot, like going to and fro. But as you make your way finally to the base of Amansul, you find that there are basically like this old gatehouse that used to exist, and like the top of it has crumbled, but you can see kind of the sides of it still erect on either side of the road. Around the base of the left side, so to the south of this area, there is a entire garden of what looks to be wild athelis. However, this is grown specifically by the Dunedain. You can take some, but it's best not to take everything because the Dunedain use this as their kind of healing.
I will take whatever minimum amount that would seem like okay.
Cool.
They still
You
got
can
some.
roll
So.
a d6, add +1.
D6 plus 1. Yo, let's go. D6, where are you? It's the D6.
We're like D's
5.
nuts.
5. You can,
That's what I'm saying.
you can have
Dang!
add 5 athelis to your
5
inventory.
apples. Woo!
And as you arrive, the skies have kind of grown dusky, not dusky, cloudy, but it's still nice and warm. Very pleasant day still. The sun
like
is not
Florida.
beating down on you, but as you have started to make your way kind of into more of this hill country with the South Downs to the south and the Weather Hills to the north, you can tell the weather here seems to change in abundance. Perhaps the reason this place got the name Weathertop. And with that, Kyrian, are you planning on stopping here and resupplying while you are at it, or do you want to just continue onward?
Yeah, I'll stop. Less for the resupply. I mean, I'll resupply anything we need, but
Everybody needs to take 4 rations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just as much for to see if anyone's there to like get an update or report on the Dunedain or slash the Rangers.
Right.
I guess.
And as you examine around the base of this area, I wish I had a map. I was gonna pull one up for you, but unfortunately, Vorpal Board decided not to be fun. As you look around the base of this area, it's a very steep hill. It's difficult to climb just straight up. And the way that it's built is like there's kind of 2 ring walls that go around the base of it, and then the tower itself proper at the top is kind of crumbled and whatnot. But it rises probably a couple hundred feet in the air. The best way to access this tower is around the back side of it. There is a small path that winds through the Weather Hills that the Dunedain are very much aware of, and so you're able to find this with ease. And it goes through kind of like this more like gradual incline as it kind of winds back and forth like along the side of it. The first place that is of note of where there could potentially be someone as you make your way up is on this backside. There's actually a crevasse that has been made inside the earth itself. It is a place that you refer to as the caves. These are the Rangers' caves, and usually if there's really bad weather or anything that are happening, this is where basically you belong. It's essentially being dug out of the ground since the kind of the destruction of this place long ago, but it's been carved out from the Rangers, the Dunedain, to where only like one like average size like Dunedain can like fit through it broadly, and it's small enough to where it just kind of looks like a crack in the earth. And as you go deeper and deeper into it, it eventually opens up into kind of this small chamber that could probably house about 8 people. And then also there's a stash of stuff that are in here as well. There's only one way in or out, and so you know that if you are being chased, this is not a great place to hide, because there is no other way in or out except for this first area. This is really more of a place to relax and hide if you have to. But as you show the group and you make your way in, you call out, and you don't hear any answer. You just hear a kind of a faint echo, but until you make your way into kind of like this greater central area, this greater central cave. I'm gonna have Kyrian have you make an investigation check for me.
Investigation. 11.
11.
Not
As
bad.
you look around, you are actually looking specifically for anything of interest that are in here. One of the things that you know is many of the Dunedain who make their patrols down the Greenway and stop here at Weathertop will often bring kind of like a stock with them to be able to restock this place. One thing that you always look forward to is twofold. One is a cask of ale from the Prancing Pony. Every now and then one of those will show up. And then another one is a long bottom leaf from the Shire. Unfortunately, you are unable to find either of those things to be able to add to your inventory.
Dang it.
It's just the typical rations and whatnot for the people
Alright.
that are able to stop here. But
Cool.
yeah, this is definitely a place that if you want to look for anything valuable such as that, this would be a place to be able to find it. But yeah, there's nobody in this crevasse. And so you make your way back out onto the hill. At this
Wait. Should we Valnith wants to turn to Kyrian before we actually end up leave. Do we want to leave a note for them and let them know that you had passed by? I don't know the customs of the Dunedain for doing
What
such
are the
things.
customs typically?
Well, no one's expecting you, per se. And so if you wanted someone to know that you are here, you could leave a note and whatnot, but there's still also plenty of other places to look around Weathertop to find someone, whether it's the tower proper or just like around the barricades.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look around.
Cool.
Just
have
find
you
more
make
people.
one more perception check.
Perception.
Do it.
21.
Real good.
As you exit the caves, you actually hear a soft voice, sound of wind rushing, but it is clearly the sound of a voice. Something that would be disguised in like the wind that's constantly blowing here, but it's something that the Dunedain use to communicate with each other, meaning somebody is here.
Nice.
Perhaps
All right.
lower up on the probably higher up on the towers.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's something that needs investigation, but I must go alone. Could you all wait for me down here and keep watch? I'll be right
Oh, yes,
back.
I can do that. I'll make sure to protect everyone. And Valen takes out his broadsword.
Maybe start with the bow. Pat him on the back.
Caliphyr grabs his
Although
shield
our
and he
nightly
says,
sparring sessions, you are improving.
Oh, why, thank you. I've been trying my hardest.
Caliphyr takes out his shield and he's like, if I try really hard, I think I could even plug this gap with just my shield. With his great shield that he has, we'll be fine. We'll be right here in the caves if you need us.
Wonderful.
As you begin to ascend. So the Broken Tower, this is a place that is the mark of the summit of Amansul. It's a lonely and desolate place with little shelter from the constant keening wind. Nothing grows here, save scraggly grass. When fog rolls in from the Midgewater marshes, it feels like Weathertop is an island on a white sea, the last outpost of the drowned world. On clearer days, a traveler atop the ruins feel exposed. Feel exposed. They can see in all directions, and they can also be seen, outlined against the sky. And to stand on Weathertop during thunderstorms, now that is a rare thing. Weathertop is the tallest rise for many leagues around, and when a big storm gathers, the hill is wreathed in a blaze of lightning. Of old, this place was named Amansul, the Hill of Wind, and it is said that the certain old tales that he who stands in the weather top in a storm can hear the words of the wind and speak to the spirits of the upper airs. Certainly, this was a sacred place before Elendil placed a Palantiri here. One can almost see the middlemen who dwelt in the Weather Hills in previous ages of the world, leaving offerings here for the birds, or who they believed to be the messengers to the powers of the sky. But as you begin to make the ascent, a very familiar location, you see that there is a familiar face. This one is a ranger of the north, not a Dunedain, but a ranger by the name of Falthor. And he looks to you and he says, "What news do you bring from Fornost, master?"
Not from Fornost, but from Rivendell.
I was curious. I saw your company a couple days back coming from the west. It's been a while to just take up my post here, and I'm waiting for somebody to come replace me. But to what do I have the honor of being in your presence, sir?
Well, I will update him on all the things that I sent the about the prophecy and the increase of the shadow in our lands. Just make him aware of all the things that he should be on guard for. All that stuff. I'll update him.
He looks to you and he takes everything seriously of what you're trying to say as he nods and kind of recollects, and he says, "That's troubling news indeed. Time here has been peaceful. From what I've been able to see out on the watch, I don't see many orcs or trolls or wolves here and there. However, a couple nights ago, I did feel a imposing cold that passed through here. Maybe it was just me spending too much time up at the top of this hill, but I could have sworn that it came from below. An unnatural cold here in these summer times. Be wary while you are on the road."
Thank you, brother.
Some say that the dead walk to and from here. Of course, those are stories that we tell the men of Bree and the hobbits of the Shire, but this was different. This felt supernatural.
I shall keep an eye out, and I keep good company these days. We are seemingly on some sort of quest, and we are
So where are you headed,
in the
sir?
middle of it. We are headed west to the Grey Havens to seek some counsel and wisdom as to how to proceed and mount a potential counterattack or counter-defense against those gathering at Mount Graham in these dark times. But I assure you, as always, I am seeking to overthrow that gathering of shadow, that we can continue to bring light and peace to our lands.
Good. Good. While you're making your way west, I hear that my replacement should be coming within the day. If you encounter Malor, I'm gonna actually have you make a history check for me.
9.
Malor, the name rings a bell, but you're unable to kind of put a face to this name. If you see Malor on the road, tell him that company cannot come soon enough. I'm getting the chills just being here, and soon I will make my rotations back to our hideaway in the Coldfells. But for now, I'll make sure to keep watch of the roads in all directions.
Wonderful.
Chances are he's probably, if not tonight, at some point, chances are he's going to be at the Forsaken Inn. The Forsaken Inn, for your information, this is somewhere that you're very aware of. This is actually the furthest east of the Bree land that there is. There's a inn that's used for all sorts of travelers and it's frequented a lot. And it is run by a man named Jack. This Jack guy is not the most friendly of sorts, and he serves as like the bartender, the inn runner, the basically everything that's there. And it's always an unpleasant experience there, but oftentimes rangers frequent here because they're pretty outcast from other places, and so they can find actually some peaceful rest here. But mostly people just stop by and eat for the night. It's pretty rare that people stop by and actually stay the night here. But it is about a probably like a day's travel from where you are here, and then another day's travel to Bree from here. So 2 days out from Bree, but halfway between Almansul and there is this place called the Forsaken Inn. So he says, if you could check there, oftentimes I find Malor, he dilly-dallies there. Enjoys his ale a little bit too much.
Noted. I'll keep an eye on him. Keep up the good work. And
you too, sir.
If anything,
good luck on your quest.
Yes. If anything, I will keep this in mind, the cold, and if anything else seems awry, you know what to do.
I do. And with that, he nods and he says, take anything that you need. Malor's coming back with some supplies to restock.
Will do. Thank you, brother. And I will make my way back down to the group.
Yep, you make your way back down. You can choose to either stay the evening or continue up the road towards the Forsaken Inn.
What time is it in the day?
So it is pretty close to like 11 a.m., close to noon.
Right.
If you wanted to make the push, you could get to the Forsaken Inn by evening tonight, probably around 1 or 2 a.m., or if you wanted to travel a little bit, stop about halfway by the time evening draws on, you could probably get there by midday the next day.
Well, I will run it by the rest of the group.
And with that, as you run it by the rest of the group, we are going to go ahead and end our stream for today.
All right.
You can decide what to do, whether you want to stay at Weathertop for the night. The benefits of staying here at Weathertop are you get a night of complete rest. We don't have to make any checks or anything. Things will be good. If you do press on, you'll just get to your location sooner and whatnot. So up to you. But with that, thoughts on tonight's session? And I'm going to go ahead and start it off with you, Cole, since you are here.
Sounds good. I think Kind Babbage, Son of Cabbage is a pretty great name.
I agree.
And and that is my first thought. So thank you, Vorpal Board, for that one. Yeah, good session. I like traveling. I like making travel easy. I have heard from Valinith that Wilderland was not the same.
Travel is not always easy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It was rough. Most of the time it was rough.
Yeah. So I'm, grateful I could make that a little easier on us. Yeah, just to keep going on our journey. Lots of good information.
Yeah. Another big lore dump session for the kind of things for the kind of getting to know this world as you start to make your way west, but also give you kind of more of a clear vision about what your duties and your adventure is going forward.
So having fun doing that. Just making our way west and learning about the Grey Havens and what they are and what they aren't.
Yep.
So there we go. It's good
Dane,
stuff.
Your thoughts on today's session?
Yeah, looking forward to this adventure, honestly. Like, I feel like our last adventure was so high stakes. And who knows, it may still become high stakes, but like Cole was saying, I'm looking forward to like getting to the Grey Havens, getting to know the western part of Eriador, because we haven't really traveled this far. And so especially, it's a well documented area in the Lord of the Rings, so these parts. And so I'm looking forward to as a character being able to spend time in Bree and the Shire and the Grey Havens. So yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
good.
part of the reason, well, I mean, one, we're reaching the end of time here, but also part of the reason too that I wanted to kind of stop here is exactly for that reason. Like, there's a wealth of things to be able to do, and it gives you another week to be able to think of, like, if you want to accomplish anything in Bree, if you want to do anything in the Shire, if like there's specific people you want to try to find before, like, it's going to be the next probably 2-ish sessions are going to be pretty busy with that kind of stuff. Investigating, figuring out like what is actually going on here in these areas, since it's been a long time. It's been since the beginning of the adventure, since either of you have been here. I think the last time we visited Bree was literally session 0 for
Kyrian,
Kyrian.
yeah.
And so yeah, things might have changed in the meantime, things might not have changed, but it'll all depend on what you guys decide to do going forward. But yeah, this is like, I felt like it was a good stopping point before the adventure really starts to pick up going from here on.
I'm excited to sell some Atlas to Eager Beaver. I've got so much Atlas. Just go look at my character sheet and see how much Atlas I have.
It could also
Just
save
much.
us because it heals, right?
I have like 20 Atlas. I don't think you're gonna need
Nice.
20.
But I'm just saying that's what it's used
Oh, yeah.
for. Yeah,
What
yeah.
is it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a D4
Yep.
plus 1 or something. It's not a ton of healing, but it's some healing.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I think it's a D4 plus. Let's see. A D4 plus 1 hit points. Yep.
Nice.
So.
That's good.
Also, I'm glad I
Mhm.
could influence future Estel
Yes.
in the ways of being a ranger.
Exactly. Who knows? By the time you return, depending on how long it takes, he'll be that much closer to departing Rivendell for good. So
Yeah.
you guys only
Crazy.
have a
Go
little
find
bit
the
of time
love
left
of his
with
life.
him.
Before he becomes a man and disappears until Lord of the Rings. No one knows where he goes.
He becomes Thorongil, and he goes to Rohan for a little bit, and he becomes
Oh, really?
a hero down there. Yeah, is basically this guy named Thorongil, and it's Aragorn, like, in disguise, but he does a ton of stuff for Rohan during that period.
How do you know?
There's I think it's in the appendices, I think, of the Lord of the Rings, where they talk about like all of the characters of the Fellowship, specifically like the history of Aragorn. And so I kind of like a brief ongoing of what happens is he after like he's kind of raised and comes of age, that's when he actually meets Arwen. And so Arwen is living currently right now in the time of the story that you're at in Lothlorien and Galadriel. She eventually comes back, and then Aragorn meets her and is just like, oh my gosh, and like he pledges his love to her and everything. But
I almost was like, hey, watch out for them elf women, you know? Because Kyrian knows they'll get you.
They'll get you. But essentially what goes on from there is he joins up with like the Rangers of the Dunedain and Eriador before making his way down to Rohan. And in Rohan, he is kind of doing like his like scouting of like the area down there in Gondor. Gondor as well, but he goes under the guise of Thorongil, and he actually becomes kind of like a war hero. He helps like in many battles down there, and that's really where he gains like his like strength. And then afterwards, he eventually makes his way back up to Eriador and like serves as a ranger, which brings us to the years of the Lord of the Rings and like all that, like and then he goes and like he does like his search for Gollum and everything with Gandalf, and then he comes back, and then that's when like the hobbits are leaving. And so he spends actually a big chunk of his time like in the wilds of Eriador and then also in Rohan. So
nice,
cool. The future of Estel. But
love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave him his pipe that he will smoke in the Lord of the Rings. It's canon.
It's canon. it's the Kyrian.
Yeah.
Pipe.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
The unclean Kyrian pipe that he's gonna have to unburden before he uses. Or maybe not. Maybe he likes the flavor.
Yeah. I imagine, I whittled that while I was bored on a journey once and was like, I'll give this to someone.
The future king of Gondor.
And it became my well, I don't know that. It became my like I want to smoke with someone. Here, have a pipe. It was like my spare pipe. Yeah. And I was like, here, kid, have this pipe.
He looks to you and he's just like, I'll cherish this with my life.
Yeah. And it's the one he will smoke while he's
on the throne in Minas Tirith. He's just smoking his
Kyrian pipe. I know.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but no, I'm very excited. I was telling Dane actually before stream that I've been spending a lot of time going over the kind of the next adventure and everything that it entails, and I'm very excited to see where it comes from. It might seem very chill at this point, but there's lots of things to explore and lots of things to see and do, and so I think it's going to make up for at least a lot of sessions of excitement for hopefully you guys and also the audience for those who are watching. So. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm pumped. That's basically all I have to say about today's session. Is it was good.
I think what is difficult for my character is losing the sense of urgency, because I feel like the last like adventure, the whole thing was like, we gotta go, like literally, like since session 0 it was like go 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 go, you know. So I feel like it's hard to switch the mindset.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
if I seem like I'm just pushing ahead, that's why.
Nope, that's okay.
So
Well, I mean, there is a time frame, but
I
it's a
mean,
long
yeah,
time.
but
Yeah.
like you're just like talking about
gotcha.
like exploring and stuff, and I'm like, no, we have to go and do the thing. We got to go find this sword and then defeat the bad guy.
That makes
No time for adventure.
I don't know if I wasn't adventuring. I'm just poor and sick of being poor, and so I need to find Athos to sell to people.
He's gonna
Make sense.
He's gonna be a wandering road merchant, a homeless wandering.
Gonna be
road
the
merchant.
weed dealer.
No, a snake oil.
Yeah,
salesman.
weed dealer.
And he'll literally be like, he'll get into Bree, and it's just like, hey, look what I got. And he opens, and there's like all these weeds that are like in his coat, and he's just like, now where did you get it? And they're like, from no one. And they're like, that's right. And then he goes and he goes on to his next place.
And then they're like, is that smoke weed or pipe weed? And he'll be like, no.
No, this will make you feel so much better. This is the good stuff.
Yeah, rub this in those open wounds.
This will heal your wounds.
Not
straight
emotional,
into the bloodstream.
Yes,
exactly. But yeah, and hopefully next time soon, or next session, so going forward from here will be in 2 weeks, meaning it will be the 18th of February. And so that'll be our next session. Hopefully Tubby Australian will be back for that to play Theodoric as the adventure officially begins to kick off. I guess it technically has officially kicked off now, but first full adventure day stream will kick off on the 18th. And we are actually considering pushing the stream time 30 minutes. I think that'll help you a little bit, Cole, to get there. But also to... that'll be like our hard start to the stream time. And so instead of, 5 p.m. start time that we usually have for you, it'll be 5:30 start time.
Cool.
Once the daylight savings and everything happens, it'll still be the same, I believe, for all of
for
them.
us.
So,
It'll change for you.
Yeah,
it'll change for you,
but
but
for you guys, it'll still be the same. And so we'll just make sure to keep 5:30 Mountain Standard Time will be that time to start. And then
yeah, sorry, my schedule, I'm like out and then traffic, and so
it happens. It totally makes sense. So you don't even need to worry about it. And then just so you know for the future, like we'll have that hard 5:30 start time. So if you aren't back by then, don't worry. We'll just start the stream and then you can just come in and
I'll
join
hop on when I get home. Yeah,
perfect.
Cool.
And no pressure or anything with that. Anything else? We have a number of streams for the rest of the week. Well, I guess just one more for the rest of the week, which is our next stream of
first stream of Rebirth.
First stream of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So it's the newest game in the series of Final Fantasy VII. Unfortunately, I don't know when they did it. Within the past month, they took the DLC off of the store to be downloaded. So I can't get the Final Fantasy DLC, unfortunately, for the
Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII.
Like they remade it.
Yeah,
they remade it.
Oh, the one with Cloud, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there was a DLC that came out with it originally back in 2020, and all the way up until December, they had it on the store, but I hadn't pulled the trigger. Apparently, they don't have it anymore. It's fine. We don't miss a whole lot. We just basically get to learn more about Yuffie, who's one of the companions in the next game that's upcoming, but we don't lose much. And so we just finished Crisis Core, which is the prequel to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then the sequel is what we're going to be playing now. We have a lot more information about it, so we'll be starting that at normal time, so 9 a.m. JST on Friday, I guess Thursday for you guys in the West. And then no Coal Forge this week. You guys just streamed. And then
Sunday.
yes. this
It
past
should be Sunday.
It is Sunday. It's coming.
Well, wait. Yeah,
Hold on.
since it's
Yeah.
supposed to be Everlast. No, it's not. I think you guys have it in 2 weeks, right?
No, it's the 9th. It's every second and fourth
Oh, it is the second.
Sunday.
That's right. We don't have Everlast this week.
You
do we?
have
Yeah.
some Coalforge Great Axe coming up this weekend, so
Yeah.
Look forward to that. And then
Yeah, last month was weird because of the 5th Friday, but
Mhm.
yeah, and so that's true. That kind of whacked all the schedules up. And then so you guys will be streaming on the 9th, and then on the 11th for you guys, which is normally the 12th my time. I will be continuing Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII, and then Dane will be streaming on Thursday his next Bible study.
Or Wednesday.
Wednesday for the West, Thursday for us here, and then we don't have any Everlast or anything because it's Valentine's Day. But we might do a morning stream, Dane and I. Well, morning time for me on that Friday for some
Twin Blades of
Twin Blades of
Eorzea.
Eorzea. So that should be good. So
no
again,
Everlast on the 14th.
No Everlast on the 14th.
No
it's
Everlast.
Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. So the next one we have is the 28th?
28th.
28th. Yep.
Well, that's
Cool.
weird. It's the last day of February.
Yeah.
Yes, so the next
Crazy.
one will be the 28th, last day of February. So look forward to that. It should be sweet. There's a couple ways that you can help support the channel. We have Coffee of the Realm, which is awesome coffee. We have Fragrances of the Realm, which is awesome smelling candles. They go towards helping create the art of Everlast. And then also, exciting news is we are a month-ish out from the official Kickstarter release of the Everlast TCG. Which that is coming smoothly. We have already like banners and stuff for like events that were getting printed and whatnot. Like we have stuff up on the website. That's a big announcement. So Dane announced it yesterday that we have the print and plays ready for you on the website. So on the Fantasy Forge website, do we have a link to that? Like a probably should get a link to that.
There is a link. If you go to the About section on our page, there's a little tab that I think it has Belbin as the picture where it says website. Just click that.
Click that,
Yeah.
go to our website. We have a new tab that's open on the website, which is the Everlast TCG. There are print and plays, which are going to be our 4 EX battle decks, which are going to be released as well. So we have the Inquisition, which has everything to do with the Inquisitor and the people of Umbertown. And then we have the Defense of Shiloh, which is on the complete opposite side of the Great Peninsula. You see Lawrence of Shiloh, who's the Master of Shiloh, and like all of his stuff, like defending the town of Shiloh. And then the 2 evil sets that we have for the Raising of Helix is Gorgonath Hunters, which is basically like a wolf deck. So it's like a fire frost type deck. It's like wolves and orcs, which is cool. Looks pretty good. And then the last one is Master Assassin, which is Shada. So you guys are probably familiar with Shada if you were here at the earliest part of like the start of the stream content. She was an assassin that they met in Helix and has found her way over to Kai Town. And so you guys may have remembered her from way back when, but yeah, she's got that and a whole like rogue deck that's involved with that. So you can print those off. There's actually like a multiplier. So the playmat for this is like bigger than like your average playmat, and so there's like also like a printable, like I think it's like 4 or 5 sheets that you can kind of like connect. There's like gluing portions of it that you can connect to create your own playmat if you want to. I recommend having the playmat for this game. And then we also have a rules that are up there, so like rules at a glance. So you can actually start officially playing the Everlast TCG right now with your own print and play stuff for the game. So do that. Look forward to it. Enjoy it. A lot of the mechanics, the battle mechanics, are involved in Everlast and kind of like the battle of mechanics of the role-playing game. And so it's very exciting. I'm very, very excited to get this all to you guys. And then once the Kickstarter releases, we'll start getting more promotional stuff out there for you to kind of get hyped and excited. But for now, play the game, print it out, play it, enjoy it. It should be a really good time. I recommend if you just have regular paper, just get like penny sleeves or something, and then just have like your penny sleeved paper deck, and you can play them and you can test things out. You can mix and match some of the item cards.
I would recommend actually getting like dark backed sleeves, if that makes sense.
Yes,
just in case
sleeves.
you can see through the back of them. Yeah. So not penny sleeves, but sleeves that have a dark back to them. But you could just stick the paper in there and yeah. Sorry.
Like
No,
we
no
used to
worries.
play Pokemon back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that was more Yu-Gi-Oh. We didn't know how to play. It's
Yeah.
fine.
We just had it, and we were just like,
We
my
were just
card's better
like,
than yours. I win.
Exodia, I win.
Yeah, for sure. And in the
That's how it
coming
works.
days too, I will be finishing up my videos for like quick little video tutorials of how to play the game of Everlast, and then those will also go up on the website too, and they'll be on our YouTube page as well. So you can get a little bit more assistance outside of just like the basic rule sheet to learn how to play, which should be friggin' sweet. But yeah, check out our YouTube, check out Christ Forge and like the Bible study and all that. There should be a Discord link as well for that, so you can join it so you can always stay up to date. We have a bunch of stuff on that YouTube page as well to help aid in your prayer and past Bible study stuff. Other than that, I think that's it. Oh, and Dice Snacky. They're our sponsor. They're a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company. They have a number of Japanese snack boxes, from the Makse box, which has more popular Japanese snacks, to the Makse Lux box, which has more traditional Japanese snacks. If you order from them, say that Fancy Forge sent you a checkout. That's how we get our credit and then make our way towards our next free Omakase box giveaway. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and close real quick in some prayer, and I will see you guys all tomorrow, not tomorrow, 2 days for Final Fantasy. So, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O Jesus, my Savior and Redeemer, Son of the living God, behold, we kneel before you and offer you our reparation. We would make amends for all the blasphemies uttered against your holy name, for all the injuries done to you in the Blessed Sacrament, for all the irreverence shown towards your Immaculate Virgin Mother, for all the slanders spoken against your spouse, the Holy Catholic Church. O Jesus, who has said, if you ask the Father anything in my name, he will give it to you. We pray and beseech you for all our brethren who are in danger of sin. Shield them from every temptation to fall away from the true faith. Save those who are even now standing on the brink of the abyss. To all of them, give light and knowledge of the truth, courage and strength for the conflict with evil, perseverance in faith and active charity. For this do we pray, most merciful Jesus, in your name, unto God the Father, with whom you live and reign in the unity of the Holy Spirit, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all. I'm praying for you. Make sure you pray for me and pray for each other. May the road go ever onward and onward, and I will see you on Friday for some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Bye, everybody.